Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage your host for this evening and one of the Alzheimer's Association's most vocal and dedicated champions, our friend, David Hyde Pierce.
Good evening, and welcome to the final performance of A Night at Sardi's. Benefiting the Alzheimer's Association. This is an important, great night. It's the end of an era, and it's the beginning of a new chapter. And we're going to go out with a bang. It's sort of like the end of a Wagner opera or a Beethoven symphony. You don't just cut it short, you end it. So that's what we're doing tonight. It's hard to believe that so much time has gone by since this benefit was created. 24 years. $24 of raising the much-needed funds for the critical programs of the Alzheimer's Association to care and support and find a cure. And we owe it all to the two people who made the Alzheimer's cause their mission, Peter and Lori Grad. For Peter and Lori, it was personal. It was a way to do something positive after Lori's dad, the playwright and director Abe Burrows, died from Alzheimer's disease. We are beyond grateful for the work they and their entire family have done that since 1992 has raised the extraordinary amount of $28 million. And that does not include tonight. As much as tonight is a celebration of that incredible achievement, it is also bittersweet. As many of you know, tonight we honor Peter Grad, who passed away suddenly last summer. We know he's with us in spirit, but he's here in more than just spirit. His example as a charitable and loving man inspires and lives with any of us who ever came in contact with him. Yeah. Many of his jokes live with us too, and for that we will never forgive him. Naturally, those who were closest to Peter are here tonight. His and Lori's son, Nick, has stepped in to co-chair this evening, along with amateur director James Burrows, Lori's brother, and neither of them are strangers to Night at Sardi's. We're thankful to them, as well as to all the incredible performers, the people waiting backstage, crouched backstage, waiting to give you their time and their talent. Listen, we've done the math. Sardi's has presented nearly 500 musical performances over the past 24 years. Yeah. So 500 divided by 28 million, never mind. And the other people we have to thank are all of you. Without you, these incredible moments would have been performed solely for the Hilton staff. All these many meals would have been thrown away. But also because of your incredible support, you are helping the Alzheimer's Association help those who need it most. Listen, this is a working dinner. You're going to have a good time tonight, but you're also going to do a good thing, because while we're sitting here, Alzheimer's disease is not resting on its laurels. Dementia goes on, touching more and more lives, more and more families, and we're not going to rest on our laurels tonight. We're going to continue to raise money. We are going to continue this fight as we sit here. We will not take this disease sitting down. And we have a really cool new way to make donations tonight, right from your seat, using one of these. It's very simple. You dial your banker, and you say the phrase, "Release the funds." No, I actually have no idea how it works, but someone else is going to explain that to you. But it's very simple, and a big part of tonight. What we want is for this evening to be not only the last, but also the largest fundraiser in the history of Night at Sardi's. And to that end, please bear in mind that once again, the Peyton Family Foundation has generously agreed to match every donation made in the room tonight up to the amount of $25,000. So you'll hear more about that as the evening goes along. But now I would like to take this opportunity to bring to the stage a wonderful actress, Alzheimer's advocate, and author whose book, Where the Light Gets In, about her family's experience with Alzheimer's disease, will be released this April. We're delighted once again to have her with us. Please welcome Kimberly Williams Paisley.
Thank you so much, David. And thank you for all you have given to the Alzheimer's Association over the years, from your dazzling performances at Sardi's to your heartfelt testimony before Congress on behalf of increased funding for Alzheimer's. There are no words to express the depth of our gratitude. For the past 23 years, at this point in the show, Peter and Lori would come out of the wings and do their routine that never failed to charm and get the evening off to a great start. But as we all know, in both charity and in show business, the show must go on. Though Peter will never be replaced, it's taken not one, but two people to step into the very large shoes that needed to be filled tonight in his absence. Undoubtedly, the gentleman I'm speaking of would meet with Peter's full approval. Please welcome to the stage the co-chairs for this evening, Jim Burrows and Nick Grad, and of course, the indomitable Lori Burrows Grad.
Okay. No. Okay. I can't start crying yet. See this? This is for a reason. Welcome to the 24th and final A Night at Sardi's. I know you've always heard that Peter and I swear that this is the last year we're going to nudge you for money. But I promise you, this is the final year. By the way, tissues are strewn around the room, not because Kimberly Clark is a sponsor this evening. It's because tonight we celebrate my beloved husband Peter's work, raising money for this cause, and we might just shed a tear or two in his memory. I think in the past 7 months, my copious tears could have been more helpful in stopping the California drought than El Nino. I can't stop crying. Peter and I started A Night at Sardi's almost a quarter of a century ago in memory of my sweet father, Abe Burrows, who suffered from Alzheimer's disease. Over the past 23 years, we have raised $28 million. Not a bad legacy. And I want to thank each and every one of you for helping us achieve that goal. All the prodding paid off, and you know how Peter prodded. We are that much closer now to finding a cure for Alzheimer's disease, and we need the funds to provide much-needed services to the victims and families of this dreaded disease. I must thank my team from the association, my dinner committee, the event team, the production people, the writers, the publicists, and of course the talent, the amazing talent that have given so freely of their time. We could not have done this without all the help from my support system at Sardi, so let's give them a round of applause. At this time in my speech, Peter always remarked about my dress, and my jewels. Rest well, my sweet Peter. I'm wearing something I bought on sale 20 years ago at 90% off, and the jewels are borrowed.
I feel like I should make a concession speech or something. I have been asked to say something about Peter, but what can you say about someone who sleeps with your sister? So I will say something about my father, Abe Burrows. But what can you say about somebody who sleeps with your mother? So instead, I'll let my father share some of his thoughts. How are you going to keep them down on the farm after they've seen the farm? When your hair turns to silver, I will love you just the same as I did through all the other colors. I'm dancing with tears in my eyes 'cause the girl in my arms stole my watch. Everyone has someone, but all I have is you. Every time I kill myself, I die a little. And finally, from his songbook, my brain is whirling, my head is spinning, I can't sleep a wink at night. My appetite's gone, my nerves are all ragged, my blood pressure's up, and my eyes are all bagged. My ears are ringing, my stomach's turning, my pulse is going too quick. But I talked to the doctor, now I'm worried no longer, 'cause he said it ain't love, you're just sick. Lori and I grew up with that, and boy, do we miss it. My father would have been proud of the work my sister and Petey have done over all these years to help find a cure for Alzheimer's, but he wouldn't be any prouder than I am.
All I want to say is that even though it's unquestionably sad to be up here tonight instead of my dad, I do take joy in being able to do something that always gave him enormous pleasure. You could see the excitement mounting on his face right before he and my mom would announce the haul brought in for the night from the generous contributions made possibly by all of you. So Mom, if you wouldn't mind helping me out with the drum roll, it is my pleasure to inform you that all that tonight's tally has come to so far, $1.4 million. Thank you. Thanks, Dad.
$1.4 million. What a great start. Hey, listen, I am actually a little bit of an interloper here tonight. For the last few years, we've had two wonderful young actors serve as co-hosts for the evening, and now once again, they are here tonight to bring their advocacy and charm to our stage. Please welcome from the NBC comedy series Superstore, Ben Feldman, and from USA's Suits, Sarah Rafferty.
Thank you, David. It is truly an honor for Sarah and I to step aside so that you could return to host this wonderful event. It's like my agents always tell me, you killed it in the room, you did the best you could do, but ultimately they're looking for a name.
Yeah, and they got 3 names with him.
Yes, they did, Sarah. They got 3 names with David Hyde Pierce.
Good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here, especially to share the stage again with you, Ben. So what have you been up to? What's going on?
Exciting stuff, very exciting stuff on the horizon. So,
Wow. Okay. Tell me about it.
oh, we're not gonna, okay, well, stop me if I sound like I'm bragging, but there is currently only 23% available space left on my DVR right now, so needless to say, my wife and I have a lot of programs to watch.
Wow. I wonder who's going to play you in the movie version of your life.
Fran Drescher, probably, Fran Drescher.
Okay, so actually, I have been watching a lot of TV as well.
Oh yeah? Like what? What are you liking?
Oh my God. Okay, so my husband and I, we have actually been binge watching this reality show. It's on every 4 years. It's a show where a group of lunatics make fun of each other and terrify millions of people until there's only one of them left standing.
Wow, that sounds gratuitous. What does the winner get?
Nuclear codes.
That's scary stuff. How do you explain that show to your kids?
Oh, I don't need to. They're super into it. Actually, my kids have already picked their candidate.
Shut up. Who are your kids? Who's their
Well,
candidate?
they are squarely behind SpongeBob.
SquarePants? SpongeBob SquarePants? That's adorable. Yeah.
Sorry, why is that adorable?
What do you mean, why is that adorable? Your kids want to elect like a ridiculous cartoon as president of the United States.
See what I did there?
Yeah, no, I heard that when I said it. That's well
You're
done.
welcome.
Yeah, nice.
Okay, well, enough of this charming banter. It is time to get to the important stuff.
Yes, on to the matter at hand. Sarah and I are here and proud to have been asked to introduce someone to you that has been making it his life's work to speak out on the devastating impact of Alzheimer's disease and the nature of the epidemic we are facing.
What makes Greg O'Brien's story such a compelling one is that he was diagnosed with early onset Alzheimer's disease in 2009 at the age of 59. Professionally, Greg has more than 35 years of experience as a journalist, an editor, investigative reporter, and publisher. He is also the editor and author of several books, including his own personal memoir on Pluto, Inside the Mind of Alzheimer's.
Since receiving a diagnosis, Greg has spoken across the country, raising awareness of the experience living with younger onset Alzheimer's disease. In 2015, he became a national early stage advisor for the Alzheimer's Association, joining other advocates living in the early stage of Alzheimer's and related dementias. He is helping dramatically to reduce the stigma associated with a diagnosis. He's advocating for increased funding for research and providing input on the most appropriate programs and services for people living with this disease.
Greg has come here tonight from his home in Massachusetts expressly to speak with us.
So please join us in giving a warm welcome to Greg O'Brien.
Thank you. I probably need this, but I need room for my speech. You know, as a Boston guy, I used to be able to speak for 1,000 people for an hour, and probably no one listened, but I didn't need to refer to notes. It's not my station in life anymore, and I have to refer to notes, so I hope it's okay if I read this, but I wrote this for you. I want to thank you for the opportunity to attend the 24th and final evening of a night at Sardi's. It is a deep honor to speak to you this evening. Thank you for your generous contributions to benefit the care, support, and research of the Alzheimer's Association. I couldn't stand here before you tonight without your support, without the support of caregivers. And tonight, we extend our love and admiration to Nancy Reagan. Thank you. Yet we still have a long way to go. To fight an enemy, one must study the enemy and have working strategies in place. As the author of The Art of War, the great Chinese general Sun Tzu once counseled, quote, "Tactics without strategy is the noise before defeat." As an investigative reporter now struggling with this disease, one that has decimated my family tree, I have studied this enemy, devised strategies, and wrote a book about it on Pluto, the first book written by an investigative reporter embedded inside the mind of Alzheimer's, chronicling the progression of his own disease. Alzheimer's is a cunning, calculating killer. It is not your grandfather's disease. It is a disease, experts say, that can take 20 years or more to run its serpentine course. It's a story that could be yours someday, or the story of a loved one. I know the front line well. Alzheimer's stole my maternal grandfather and my mother. Several months ago, my paternal uncle died of the disease, and before my father's death, he also was diagnosed with Alzheimer's. Now Alzheimer's has come for me. I was diagnosed with younger onset Alzheimer's in 2009 after experiencing the horrific symptoms of short-term memory loss, inability to recognize individuals and places I've known all my life, difficulty completing simple tasks, terrible judgment, confusion with time, place, withdrawal, challenges with problem solving and spatial relationships. After a battery of tests, brain scans, and a SPECT scan confirmed the diagnosis, the doctor said it was accelerated by 2 serious head injuries. It unmasked a disease in the making, they said. I also carry the Alzheimer's markers gene APOE4, which appears on both sides of the family. The diagnosis came 2 weeks after I was diagnosed with prostate cancer, which in consult with my doctors and family, I am not treating. It is my exit strategy. I don't want to take my family and my friends to that final stage. Today, 60% of my short-term memory can be gone in 30 seconds. As I noted before, I don't recognize friends and family, including my wife on 2 occasions. I get lost in familiar places, fly into inexorable rage when the light in my brain goes out. And at times, I see things that aren't there. The most disturbing symptoms in my private darkness are the visual misperceptions, the playful but sometimes disturbing Stephen King-like hallucinations, seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, and feeling things that aren't there. Daily medications, in my case the legal limits, serve to slow the progression and help control rage on days when I hurl the phone against the room, a perfect strike to the sink, because in the moment I can't remember how to dial, or when I smash the lawn sprinkler against an oak tree in the backyard because I don't recall how it works, or when I push open the flaming hot glass door to the family wood stove barehanded to stroke the fire just because I thought it was a good idea until my skin melts in a second-degree burn, or simply when I cry privately, the tears of a little boy, because I fear I'm alone, nobody cares, and the innings are starting to fade. This disease is stealing my self-esteem and my finances. I face personal bankruptcy, but I won't let it take my love of friends, family, and my soul. These demons will have to take a sledgehammer to me, as it was with my mother, the hero of my life. You know, years ago, I thought I was Clark Kent, Superman, an award-winning journalist who feared nothing. But today, I feel more like a baffled Jimmy Olsen, and on days of muddle, more like Mr. Magoo, the wispy cartoon character who couldn't see straight, exacerbated by a stubbornness to acknowledge a problem. Or like Mr. Potato Head, the wacky pushpins and all, or perhaps like a codfish landed on the dock. A fish rots from the head down. Daily exercise and writing are my sucre to reboot and reduce confusion. So I try to stay locked in, as a missile is on target. But locked in, you know, likewise, is a medical term in which an individual who cannot speak because of paralysis communicates through the blink of an eye. Some days I find myself between definitions, using every available memory device and strategy, cerebral and handheld, to communicate. Hey, I'm not stupid, nor are others with Alzheimer's. We just have a disease. Alzheimer's indeed is a disease that runs in circles and eventually meanders for an ultimate kill. It is analogous to the prototypical arcade game Pac-Man, in which a pie-faced yellow icon navigates a maze of challenges, eating pack dots to get to the next level. While the iconic video game was designed to have no ending, there are no power pellets in Alzheimer's to consume the enemies of ghosts, goblins, and monsters, as this Pac-Man in slow motion consumes brain cells one by one. Game over. Not always, if you're willing to fight with gut instincts and the help of individuals like you. You know, we can learn legions from the world of the words of others. The Irish like to say, never get mad, get even. And so I'm getting even with Alzheimer's. Not so much for me, the train has left, but for my children, for you, for your children, and a generation of baby boomers and their families and loved ones who face this demon prowling like Abaddon. We can all learn from playwright George Bernard Shaw, who prophetically said, quote, "Life is no brief candle. It's sort of a splendid torch, which I got a hold of for a moment, and I want to make it burn as brightly as possible before handing it to future generations." So as we celebrate the 24th and final night at Sardi's, I encourage all of you to continue burning your candles bright. As Ernest Hemingway wrote, quote, "The world breaks everyone, and afterwards, some are strong in the broken places." So be strong in the broken places. Thank you. God bless you. Again, it's been an honor to speak here. Thank you.
What an extraordinary man, what a hero. And also, he is a man of his time. One of the things that has happened over these 24 years is that the rest of us are no longer having to be a voice for people with Alzheimer's. They are speaking with their own voice. That is a direct result of research. That is a direct result of scientists and doctors being able to diagnose this disease earlier and greater awareness of things like young onset disease. That's what your money is going to support. So, tonight, as you know, we're welcoming many old friends back with us one last time, but it's a pleasure that we have some new ones coming to this event. And when Keith Carradine was asked who he would like to present him with tonight's Caregiver Award, he suggested we reach out to Laurie Metcalf, whom he befriended while they shared a New York stage a few years ago in Sam Shepard's play, A Lie of the Mind. And I told Keith, I know Laurie, I've worked with her, she was on Frasier, the woman is trouble. But he was insistent. She's a brilliant actress who you probably are most familiar with for her Emmy Award-winning work on Roseanne, as well as her current starring role in HBO's incredible Getting On. And she's also Sheldon Cooper's mother on The Big Bang Theory. But those, they're here. But those fortunate enough, she has a lot of explaining to do. But for those fortunate enough to have seen her a few seasons back on Broadway in The Other Place, for which she was nominated for a Tony Award for Best Actress, Laurie's performance as a neuroscientist in the throes of dementia was harrowing and truly unforgettable. It is my pleasure to introduce you, my good friend, Laurie Metcalf.
Well, back in 2010, I met Haley Dumont and Keith Carradine when Keith and I worked together in a play in New York in a grubby little theater space, and we hadn't seen each other since. And it just so happened that just a few weeks ago, Keith and I ran into each other in the same grubby little theater space in New York to do a play reading because of our mutual love of grubby New York theater. And after the reading, he asked me what I was doing, and I told him that I was wrapping up a show in 2 days. And Keith said, "I must see it." And I said, I can't really recommend it. And he said, I must see it. And true to his word, which everyone here who knows Keith knows that he is, he was there the next night. And true to his core, which you all know that he is, he was supportive afterwards, and positive and funny and honest. He made it a priority to show up even after I'd tried to wave him off, and I couldn't have been more touched. And then that night in the dressing room, he very shyly asked me if I would consider introducing him at tonight's event as the recipient of the Caregiver of the Year award. And I was so flattered that he asked me, and I was so happy to be able to give him my support, because his generosity, his kindness, his honesty, and his commitment are all just as infectious as that grin of his. And so it is my honor to present the 2016 Alzheimer's Association Caregiver of the Year Award to my dear friend, Keith Carradine.
Wow. My own shiny board. Thank you, Lori. I don't know how many of you are familiar with Lori's work in the theater. She's one of the greatest, I think, ever. And I am honored truly beyond measure that she agreed to come and introduce me tonight. When the association told me they wanted to recognize me here tonight, I agreed to accept on one condition, that this recognition include my wife, Haley, and my mother-in-law, Lee Dumond. Our family has been living with Alzheimer's since Haley's dad, Don, was diagnosed with the disease some 8 years ago. Also early onset, by the way. He's just now, I think, 73. My wife's great uncle, Bill Thornton, passed away February 17th after living with Alzheimer's during the last years of his life. His son and daughter-in-law, Bod and Karen Thornton, are with us tonight, along with their daughter, Kayla. The Thorntons have been supporting this cause for some time. Kayla helped produce James Keach's masterful documentary, I'll Be Me, which chronicled Glenn Campbell's farewell tour. As he struggled to perform while sharing his affliction with the world. Extraordinary act of bravery on Glenn's part and on his family's part. James is here as well. About 7 years ago, it became apparent that the only sensible arrangement to provide the care my father-in-law would need was to circle the wagons and all begin living under one communal roof. Since then, I have been but one part of an extraordinary tag team of caregivers. And while I have certainly had my time in the trenches, my contribution to this process pales when compared with what I witness Haley and her mom do every single day. Excuse me. I can honestly say I have never seen a more profound expression of pure love and devotion. They will, of course, demur, insisting that this is simply what family does. Well, that is true, but only when families have the resources and freedom to choose home care, if that's in fact what they would like to do. We are fortunate in that Haley's mom and dad planned well for the unexpected. So Haley's mom, Lee, has the financial freedom to stay home and care for her husband. And Haley has made the choice to step away from her own extraordinary gifts as an actress to stay home and care for her hero, her beloved dad. What we are doing is filled with joy and heartbreak. The joy of keeping the connection with Don that is typically long gone by now.
and the heartbreak of living with and watching the progressive ravages of this disease. We feel fortunate that we can do this. So many families have no choice but to surrender their loved ones to institutional care, professional care. And that is where all of you come in. Your presence here means that your contributions will support the research for the cure for which we all hope so desperately. And while we await that cure, we need to encourage and work for the kinds of programs that can help enable those families who want to care for their loved ones at home but just can't manage it financially or for whatever reason. So, I want to personally thank each and every one of you here for your commitment to this most urgent and worthy cause. And I thank the association for this beautiful award, and more importantly, for all that they do every single day. Thank you.
As David mentioned earlier tonight, we are introducing a very, very easy way to make a gift to the Alzheimer's Association from your mobile phone.
Yeah, so Sarah's right. It's incredibly easy. You just open a new text message to the number 41444. Then in the message, type Sardis, and then hit space, and then the amount you want to give. You can also include your name or a message, and it'll go up with your gift on the screens behind me.
Then after you hit send, you'll get a text message in response with a link that you can click to fulfill your pledge by entering your credit card info. There's going to be no standing in lines at the end of this evening.
Okay, so I'm gonna kick off tonight's pledging campaign. I know we always tell you to put your phones away, but you guys can go ahead and take your phones out, and you're gonna text with me, okay? So I'm watching you, making sure that this happens. Just hold up your phone so that I know when you're ready. All right?
There's a phone.
Great, Sarah. You're gonna.
Phone.
Are you gonna take out your phone, or they've got their yeah?
Yep, it's okay. I've got it. I'm gonna get it in a minute.
Well, no. I mean, why wouldn't you take your phone out now?
I can't. Okay.
Why? What is wrong with you?
It's in my Spanx.
Oh, okay.
No pockets.
Okay, got it.
Moving on.
All right. So then, okay. So just watch what I do, and then you're gonna repeat this as soon as we get off stage.
Absolutely.
Great. Okay. So here's we go. I'm gonna open a new text message to the number 41444, just like that. I think you can. Oh, they're not gonna show it. All right. Then in my message, I'm gonna enter Sardis, and then
You're on a network
$500 dollars. My name like this, and now I hit send, and you can see my pledge on the screen. Can you see my? Oh, there's my mom. My mom's there. Thank you, Mom, Ms. Middle. That's awesome. All right, well, thank you, Mary.
pretend
We're not
it's
going to
there.
read
We're
all
gonna
the
pretend it's
names.
there.
Okay, great, yeah.
Okay, so that's really cool,
Right,
isn't
yeah,
it?
no, it's very cool. Oh, and while you have your phones out, you guys can also post a photo. Okay, there you go. Holy sh...
He's on a network show, too.
Yeah, that's CBS. That's like a bunch of seasons on that show.
We all know what they're making.
So you guys can, I can't even imagine. You guys post a photo too, or a selfie, or whatever it is you want, and then the hashtag is Sardi's Final Show.
It is as easy as that, really? Really?
Yes, it is that easy. Now, our next guest is probably the most
when
important.
you're done with this intro, can you help me get my phone?
Oh, you want me to help you with your phone with the... Okay, never mind, the guest is canceled. Enjoy dinner.